And then, as we were talking about communication analysis, detailed account of conversations or arguments, being specific, when, where did this occur, what was said. Attend to affect, how did you feel? Attend to non-reciprocal role expectations, what did you expect? What was your intention? How was this communicated? What were the partner's expectations? So then you're really getting into, kind of really significant breakdowns of what was said, what was communicated, what do you want to have happen. And obviously it'd be nice to have, two people in the room, but, this is kind of a specific, strategy. Again, I think these are things that people use typically all the time. I don't think it's unique to IPT.
I think honing in specifically on how did you present this non-verbally is something that often gets missed. Right.
Well, again, because even my son will come home from school, so we'll come home from school and say things like, I just said blah 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 blah. I just told him blah blah blah. It's like, you did? Well, no, but I thought, it's kind of like, I didn't say it, but I thought it, but then that's kind of like, those are kids. It's like, I wanted to say, you're being such a jerk, but, it's funny how it comes together. It's just like, and when they do stuff that's like that, it's just like, they're just really being such a jerk. Well, did you tell them that? Like, no, I thought it. It's like, so then, but again, you're right. It's like, what isn't spoken sometimes is more powerful than what is. And I think for sometimes, especially with depression and with eating pathology, and especially in the context of not knowing how to have good relationships, so many times, and I think we see this with binge eating a lot, or again, I think I was talking about this yesterday, like the expectation that I've done something nice for you, so therefore you will return the favor, kind of this quid pro quo in relationships, and not everybody lives by that, or that, well, I was sitting there and I was just mad, and you didn't even say anything. It's just like, well.
It's like that mind reading.
Right, exactly.
People know what you need and want.
Right. Or that they should know what you need and want. Right. And so then for me, sometimes what I'll do is, like, well, where did you learn that? I don't know. It's like, well, what was your relationship? What were your mom and dad's relationship like? How did they communicate? What did they do? How did they talk to each other? How did they resolve conflicts? And then I'll do that kind of like brief education, like so much of how we know how to behave in relationships come from the way in which we were raised, or how our parents interacted, or what we saw our brothers and sisters do, etc. So it's like, where did you pick up? Where did you pick up on that? And sometimes you either already know that information, or it's a good window to get back into that. Like, well, my parents never argued. Well, how did they resolve conflicts? Well, I don't know. They just knew. Like that somehow or other, it kind of like this mythology that moms just know how to handle dads who are kind of grouchy and irritable, or that these things just magically occur. And I think our parents collectively lived in this cohort where somehow or other people just did stuff like that. They either willingly or unwillingly assumed their roles and just did their thing. But then I think we oftentimes, that's where, like, where else do you learn how to have relationships?